Hey all, today I want to talk about fire safety and autism. Stay tuned and we'll get right into it. Hey my amigos, thanks for joining me today. And today I want to talk about something serious, fire safety and autism. In the early mornings of September 26 this year in Fremont, California, the autism community lost a wonderful advocate, a woman named Feda Almaliti, and her 15-year-old son with severe autism, Muhammad, or Mu as he was affectionately called. I was lucky enough to meet Feda at an Autism Speaks event in Washington, D.C., and it was maybe like 2011. And I'll put up a picture here, and you can see there's me, my amigo Michelle, Dr. Larson, who has been featured on this channel before, Dr. LeBlanc, who's been featured on this channel before, and then you can see Feda at the end. We're both at the end. In the early mornings of September 26, a house fire killed Feda and her son, and it was just like a real tragedy. Feda got out with her sister and her niece, and then went back in to get Muhammad, who was really big. I bet he was like 6'3" or 6'5", 250 pounds, severe autism, and she couldn't get him out of the house, and so she died in the house fire along with her son. And when the firefighters, found their bodies the next day, they were embraced in a hug. So she stayed with him to the very end. So that just really made me start thinking about just fire safety and our kids with autism. And just something that just kind of funny that happened in my household is my husband just bought a new fishing boat, and to get his fishing boat registered, he had to have a fire extinguisher on it. And so then, he bought a fire extinguisher for his boat, and I said, do we have any fire extinguishers in the house? And we didn't. So we have one on our boat, but none in our house. So we went ahead and we bought 2 fire extinguishers, and we thought, gosh, we probably need 4 fire extinguishers. So we have fire extinguishers all over our house now. And then we realized that our son Brad doesn't know how to use a fire extinguisher, and we have to really discreetly teach him that it's okay to pull it off the wall. And we're probably just gonna go buy an extra one so he can, practice pulling the pin and knowing how to use the fire extinguisher. So with the fire extinguisher on the boat and us realizing that we don't have any fire extinguishers in the house and the death of Feda, it just got me thinking about how much fire safety just training is lacking in every household, but especially households with people with disabilities. So, I think most people are taught when they hear the fire alarm go off or the fire detector go off, get out of the house. Well, what happens if you're upstairs and the fire is right outside your door and you have to go out the window? Do you have a rope ladder? Can you open the window and get out? Have you ever practiced that? And it really made me think about my son Brad, who really has to practice everything, who's afraid of breaking rules, how he would respond in a fire. And we never have talked to him about that. We just, like I said, put up a fire extinguisher really close to his bedroom, but we need to teach him that it's okay to pull it off the wall, even if it damages the wall, and how to use it. So just thinking, with the way Brad's room is in our house, if he couldn't get out of his bedroom door, or couldn't get out the front door or the back door, he would have to go and get out his bedroom. So for him to get out of his bedroom, he would have to open a window, which he could do. He'd have to push out a screen, which would be breaking the rules. So I don't think he would do that. So we need to discreetly go in and teach him it's okay during a fire to push out the screen. And we obviously have to buy him a rope ladder now, and because he couldn't jump out his window, it's too high. So we actually need to purchase him a rope ladder, and actually probably one for my husband and I, our bedroom as well. But we need to practice that with Brad about here's how you push out the screen, here's where your ladder is, here's how you put it over and attach it, and here's how you climb down it. So we really need to practice that with him. We can't just tell him about how to do it. He's gonna have to do it a couple times so we can praise him, tell him he did a good job, this is how you do it, and this is what we do. And then, he might be in the backyard and we could be in the front yard. Of course, where then we meet. And then we also have dogs, like who gets the dogs out of the house and what do we do with the dogs once they're out of the house? So it just gave me, just pause and just to think, that we all need to have a fire plan. We all need to talk about it openly with our family and plan for it, because when a fire comes, it's not the time to realize, oh shoot, we don't have any plans. Now, I think with Feda, what made it really difficult was just, her son had severe autism and he was just being non-compliant and scared at that time, and she couldn't get him out of the house. And so that's just a tragedy, and that would be terrible if that happens again. And so I think as people who provide autism services to individuals with autism, and just as parents, we really need to think about this so this tragedy doesn't repeat itself. It would be great if, the death of Feda and Moo had some meaning, and the meaning behind it is that we all get smarter about fire safety, fire awareness, and fire education for people with disabilities. Another note about Feda is that she was one of the co-founders, or maybe the founder, of the National Council on Severe Autism. They have a great newsletter that goes out, and they also talk about, just subjects that affect, people who are dealing with a loved one who has severe autism, because as you know, there's a big spectrum of autism. So on the NCSA website in October, an article was written by Dr. David Wetchell, and it's called Death by Severe Autism. And he talks about just how, the severe autism of Moo and Feda's ability not to move him out of the house really killed the two of them. And it's a really good read, and it's a sad read, but it's something I think that, again, as parents of kids on the spectrum, adults on the spectrum, kids with disabilities, we really need to figure out, if a fire happened, how would we get everybody out safely? Have we talked about it? Do we have plans? And it's probably something that we need to talk about, a couple times a year to make sure that it's still fresh in everybody's mind. We spend more time planning our family vacations and, doing fun things like, what new car we're gonna buy, let's upgrade to a new computer. And then we do really planning for something like this, and it's just so important. And because autism is a spectrum, every family is going to have its own unique challenges. Like for me, it's Brad is a rule follower, and I will have to teach him that it's okay to break the rules if he needs to get out of the house. For a family who has a child who has more severe autism, they're probably going to have to practice things like, going to the child and saying, let's go, and running out the door, or let's go, and just, running out different doors, but just, getting the child used to hearing, let's go, and, running, and maybe do that a couple times a month. But talk to your provider about it, see if they have any ideas. But we have to really think about it and prepare for it, and think about, if I had to get my child out of the house right now, how would I do it if they sometimes tend to be non-compliant? Think about it now. So maybe you could just, again, practice some things like, let's go now, and so they get used to that. So when it happens, they're not like, well, this is something I've never heard, and the house is smelling kind of funny, and it's the middle of the night and I'm in my pajamas. So I just think there's just a lot to think about. So let's just all think about it and be proactive about this so we don't have another tragedy like this hit our autism community. So let's think about fire safety, let's think about a plan, let's put it into action, and let's practice. So thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you on the next video. And just thanks so much to Feda and Moo for impacting so many people's lives in such a wonderful, positive way. You will be missed.